command.
Hi everybody, this is Amanda Thompson. I'm going to do a very quick video on Desmos with the calculator and JAWS to kind of show you some of the things that you can do. This is by no means an extensive list of what's capable with the graphing calculator on Desmos, but I did want to give you some tips. The first tip is to go through Desmos's accessibility website and do whatever you need to do to make sure JAWS or whatever screen reader you're using is set up correctly. The next thing that you need to do is pull up the graphing shortcuts and make sure you have those accessible so that you can use them to navigate within Desmos. When you load the screen, let's just go ahead and reload it. So I'm going to turn on the speech.
Full speech.
I'm pressing F5 to
F5.
reload. Oops, I'm not
80 JAWS home
focused
to move.
in.
JAWS home manual.
Here we go.
Desmos
We're in my document now. I'm going
F5.
to refresh to reload it.
Enter. Desmos vertical bar graphing.
When it loads, you're in the first text, the first box, right? You can start adding in your equations. You can also go to title the graph. It's a button, so caps lock F5.
JAWS version 2021.2102.
You can go down to Untitled Graph button.
Enter. Type in text. Enter. Untitled
I'm going to use my mouse to move the JAWS button.
Desmos
if you had an account and you were logged in, so your student was logged in with a Google account, then you could go ahead and change the graph name. I'm not going to go through that process right now, but now you know how to do that. You can also, I'm going to go back to this top to reorient.
Open graph, untitled graph.
So you have the untitled graph document, you have login, sign up.
Share button menu.
You can share your graph so your students can save a graph, download it, and send it to teachers or upload it into Schoology or Classroom.
Help button menu.
There's a help button.
Menu.
Change your
Desmos
language.
Calculator. Expression bar toolbar.
You can add more expressions, or you can just arrow down once you're in there to add more.
Edit expression list button.
You have your edit expression list button. You can hide that if you want to see your graph. And you'll have your the line for your first expression. So when you first load Desmos, it puts you here right away. So if you don't want to save your graph until the end, that's totally fine. It's no big deal. I've also taught my students to take a print screen of the graph and share it with their teachers by saving the print screen as a PNG image and then uploading it that way or emailing it that way as well with a Control-V to paste it in an email talk or whatever. So there's lots of different ways that you can do whatever you need to do. I'm going to go ahead and press or write in an equation. Y equals 4x plus 5, 6.
Quote y quote equals 4 quote x quote plus 6 as graph. To audio trace, press Alt plus T.
So from here, you have a lot of different options. Once you finish writing your equation, it tells you that you can audio trace with Alt plus T, and that'll take you into the graph, and then it'll allow you to move around through points of interest and that sort of thing in the graph. If you wanted to add multiple graphs, you can arrow down, add in another equation or expression, and kind of go from there. So we can press Alt T now.
Alt T, graph paper showing one graph. Graph paper, audio trace on. Use arrow keys to navigate. To hear the graph, press H. To disable audio trace, press Alt plus T. Expression 1 intercepted x:0, y:6.
So it tells you a lot about the graph right away. The last thing it tells you is the y-intercept. So if this was not in y-intercept form, y equals mx plus b, then you could just tab or Alt A or Alt T to get into the table, the graph, and it will tell you the intercept without you even having to do anything. So pro tip for students. You can also hear the graph to kind of get an image in your brain of what the graph looks like. So the tone is increasing in, it's increasing in pitch, I guess, and that tells you that the graph is going up. You also hear a sound when it goes over the x-axis. So above the x-axis, doesn't have any like shh to it, any static. Below it does have some static. You can do a left.
X colon minus 0.8. Y colon 2.8.
To go to lower numbers on the y-axis, so your y is getting smaller, you can go right to so that your y value is getting higher. I'm sorry, your x values. I'm not a math teacher. It just so happens that they're both going, it's a graph with a positive slope, so they're both going up and down at the same time. But you can also go down by
intercepted x:0.
If you press the down the down button on your little arrow keys down changes the X value specifically. And in this
X
case,
colon
up
minus
goes the same way as
0.6.
left.
Y
Okay, just
colon
because
3.6.
it's just because the way this particular graph is set up. You can
I
also
intercept at X colon 0.
move
Y
to a
colon
point of interest by pressing
I.
I.
No more points of I.
No more points of interest, but we do know that somewhere along the way there's an
Y. Y
x-axis.
colon 6. X colon 0.
So it tells you if you hit X and Y what the exact point is on the graph. So you have those kinds of things. If you want to go back to your expression,
Escape.
you hit escape.
Expression list.
What's something else that's really cool that I wanted to show you in this very, very brief tutorial of some things that you can do with Desmos is if you hit Shift Tab to the edit.
Expression. Edit expression list button. Enter. Done button. To activate, press enter.
You hit
Edit
enter
list
to
mode.
activate it, and then you
Expression.
can
Show out. Convert that.
convert it to a table.
Enter.
Hit
Expression
enter.
1 table. Grid.
And you can find out key points on the table that your
Row
student.
2 1 -1 edit. Type blank. Row 2 2 computed cell.
So it tells you what it is.
Row 3 2 6 computed cell.
6.
Row 3 2
and you can
6.
control right arrow
Escape.
or
Desmos
tab. Oops. You can
row,
also tab between the cell so that your sighted students in the classes can have access to this information, and so can students who are using a screen reader, so that if your student is able to use the Desmos calculator and can do the XY table, boom, you type out your expression, you shift tab back to edit, select it, go into the table, select it again, and then tab around and find out what all of the X and Y values would be for that particular graph. So I just wanted to show you those couple things for Desmos. Otherwise, a lot of it is playing around with your student, finding out how the student wants to learn to do things, making sure you press that Alt T for the audio tracing so that you can use those commands inside of the document. And I also encourage you to pull up the list of shortcuts because they're super helpful for in the moment knowledge and concepts that the students might be learning that they hadn't previously learned yet. So hopefully this very, very, very brief intro to Desmos is helpful to you. If you have any questions, let me know.